there's some high energy music for your Wednesday, February 3rd, 425 class. So for this class, what I'm doing is I'm going over those problems that I gave out last day. So we went over carbohydrate metabolism last day. Today I'm going to go over fat metabolism and help you to fill in this diagram that I posted for you using these questions. So the first question asked to list the metabolic pathways in the diagram. I've got them listed there. Second question had to do with transport proteins. And the third question had to do with a bunch of enzymes. So we're going to try to put all those onto the fat metabolism picture here. So, first thing we're going to do is fill in the metabolic pathways. So those are your square brackets. So this one corresponds to your beta oxidation. That's beta oxidation. This one you filled in last time for the carbohydrate metabolism. That's the Krebs cycle. And this one down here is your electron transport chain. Again, you would have filled that in for the carbohydrate electron transport chain. And the only other one we have here is this one here. And again, I think you filled this out for the carbohydrate picture, and it is gluconeogenesis. So here you're making glucose out of a breakdown product of triglyceride, which is an adipose tissue. So here you're breaking down triglyceride. It goes to fatty acids, glycerol. The glycerol can go to the liver and form glucose through that process called gluconeogenesis. So that's what we have there, gluconeogenesis. Okay, let's fill in some of these transport proteins. So there's one here called fatty acid translocase. You can pretty much guess that has to do with fatty acid metabolism. The rest of the transport proteins above that you filled out with the carbohydrate picture. So fatty acid translocase allows fatty acids to get across membranes. So you have triglycerides, which is being broken down in adipose tissue during exercise. It gets into the muscle through that fatty acid translocase, which is located in the muscle fiber membrane. So fatty acid translocase, I'm just using the abbreviation FAT here for fatty acid translocase. Okay, so that's what belongs in that box. Then the fatty acids enter your muscle fiber and they go to the mitochondria, and you can see there's another transport box there. That is also fatty acid translocase for that box. So FAT stands for fatty acid translocase. So now we have the fatty acid into the mitochondria. It goes through beta oxidation and then feeds into the Krebs cycle. So now all we have left here are the enzymes. The one that belongs here is called hormone sensitive lipase. And, you know, I'm just going to, just like on your question sheet here, I'm going to just abbreviate it. Where is it? It's right down there at the bottom. Involved in breakdown of fats. So HSL. That would be here at your adipose tissue to break down the triglyceride. And you also have triglycerides stored in your muscle fibers. And again, in the muscle fibers is that hormone sensitive lipase that breaks down the triglyceride. So I'm going to put HSL there as well. And then the rest of the enzymes, two of them, or three of them actually, you filled in on the carbohydrate metabolism diagram. So that would include citrate synthase. I'm just going to put CS here. your succinate dehydrogenase, and those are markers of your Krebs cycle, or enzymes of the Krebs cycle. Up here for beta oxidation, the one that belongs there is that really long one called hydroxyacyl-CoA dehydrogenase, or HOAD. So I'm just putting in HOAD in that box, or that bracket. And then the only one we have left here is cytochrome oxidase, which I have abbreviated as COX. So I'm going to put COX in that square bracket. So I think that is it for the entire fat metabolism slide. Next question I'll go over quickly here. It asks which proteins listed in questions 2 and 3 would increase with endurance training. So right away, all of the proteins that, you know what, I missed an enzyme. I missed that enzyme right there that is involved in that is in the membrane of the mitochondria. That enzyme is your carnitine palmitoyltransferase. It's a mitochondrial enzyme that works in conjunction with fatty acid translocase that helps to get the fatty acids across the mitochondrial membrane. So you have this carnitine palmitoyltransferase. I'm just going to abbreviate it as CPT. Okay, and that works with the fatty acid translocase to get those fatty acids into the mitochondria and then get them through beta oxidation. Okay, the next question I have here has to do with which proteins listed in questions 2 and 3 would increase with endurance training. Well, first of all, it would be any of the proteins that are located in the mitochondria. So any of the transport proteins or any of the enzymes that are in the mitochondria. So for the transport proteins, you have MCT1 is involved in getting your MCT1 is involved in getting lactate across the mitochondrial membrane for oxidation. So I've ticked off that one. And then down here, you know, from the fat metabolism and carbohydrate metabolism diagrams, you know that HOAD is in the mitochondria, SGH, COX, lactate dehydrogenase H, your pyruvate dehydrogenase, your citrate synthase, your carnitine palmitoyltransferase is in the mitochondria. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now there's a few others that also increase with endurance training that are not in the mitochondria, and that includes your glucose transport proteins, GLUT4, and you could also write in GLUT1 here, which I don't have in this exercise, but GLUT1 would also increase with endurance training. And then down here, let's see, the only other one that would increase with endurance training, and this one's a little bit tricky, is your hexokinase. So it's the one glycolytic enzyme that increases with endurance training. It is involved in phosphorylating glucose and trapping it inside the muscle fiber once the glucose comes into the muscle fiber. So that is also increased with endurance training. So it's pretty much all the mitochondrial proteins, hexokinase, and GLUT4 that are increased with endurance training.